Where should you take Quinton Judkins in your Superflex rookie drafts? We'll tell you next.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. You can also check me out over on the Locked On Cowboys podcast. And joining me today, as always, is Michael Fabiano. You can follow him on Twitter at Michael_Fabiano. You can also check out all of his great work over on SI. And on today's show, we're doing a Superflex rookie mock draft. We're into August now. You might have your rookie drafts right around the corner. And honestly, the real reason we're doing this is I just want to see where Quinton Judkins lands, the second-round pick for the Browns, who is still not signed his rookie contract. He is the only rookie that has not signed his deal for obvious reasons. So we're going to figure out where he lands. Fabs, are you ready for this?
I'm always ready, brother. I was born ready.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna take the first pick since it's not fun at all. It's Ashton Jeanty, the running back for the Las Vegas Raiders. No real surprise here. Just wanted to get out of the way. I don't see, as much as I like who you're gonna take next at pick 102. I just don't see anybody overtaking Jeanty. So I'm taking him at 101, and I feel great about it.
I'd be shocked if there were any dynasty startup drafts where Ashton Jeanty was not the number one overall pick. Now, there's some people who may like Hampton a little bit better, Omarion Hampton. I can understand that for the most part, with all the hype, the numbers he put up in college, the offense that he's going to be in, the comparisons to Alvin Kamara, Ashton Jeanty is the 101 across the board when you're talking about dynasty.
I did have one draft where he was not the first overall pick in a rookie draft, but that's also an IDP league, which
So that was Travis Hunter then.
Yeah, but again, it's very, very different.
So in weird outliery type of draft,
the leagues that I like to play in, yes,
rules, Marcus Mosher type of leagues,
yes,
and maybe Ashton Jeanty doesn't get picked in 10 out of 10, but for the most part, he's right where he belongs.
Really quickly before we move on from Jeanty, how many running backs in startup drafts, not rookie drafts, in startup drafts, are you taking over Jeanty?
There's only a few. Bijan obviously is going to be one of those players.
Gibbs?
Saquon is out of that mix. I'm taking Jeanty over Devon Achane. I'm taking Gibbs over him. So it's just a couple of guys.
That's it for me. It's just Bijan and Gibbs, and just mostly because of the situation. I like those offenses a little bit better, but that's it. All right, pick 102. You are on the clock. Who do you got?
You will be shocked to know that I am taking Omarion Hampton. And this has nothing to do with Najee Harris and the superficial eye injury that he has that has kept him from practicing. Omarion Hampton is a perfect fit for Greg Roman's offense. Perfect. He's a big, bruising, 3-down type of back who can also catch the ball out of the backfield. There's nothing keeping him off the field. And that Chargers offense, to me, got better when they brought back Keenan Allen. Not significantly better, but it got better. And we all know, dating back to Greg Roman's time as the offensive coordinator in San Francisco, in Baltimore, running backs typically thrive.
Yeah.
Running backs typically do pretty well. Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy. Listen, we can continue to go on, but you get the point. This is maybe the best prospect that has ever been in a Greg Roman offense. Okay, listen, respect to Gore and LaShawn McCoy, but Roman came into their careers a little bit later. Hampton's going to learn from Roman in day one. And as long as Jim Harbaugh is the head coach in LA, Greg Roman's going to be the OC. So Hampton is a guy that I would not be surprised to see finish in the top 12 to 10 in fantasy points among running backs, especially if this Najee Harris thing lingers on into the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Hampton's got to be your pick here at 102. I actually think the gap has closed between Jeanty and Hampton a little bit. And it's mostly because the more we think about this Chargers offense, the more I'm getting really excited about it. Like, there's just a chance that Hampton's going to get a bunch of touches and a bunch of goal line touches on an offense that we think is going to be pretty good. I think the Chargers defense, not only this year, but into the future with Jesse Minter as the defensive coordinator, they're going to do a good job of holding teams down. And that's just going to allow Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh to lean on the running game even more. Again, I'm still taking Jeanty over Hampton, but I feel like there's a clear-cut top 2 picks here, and then there's a big gap after that.
Yeah, I would agree. The 2 big backs in this draft class are clearly the cream of the crop at the position. And there's a significant drop, not only overall among the rookies, but from RB2 potentially to RB3. And of course, we'll get to that.
All right, let's get to pick 103. And this one's really tough. You know how much I love Travis Hunter. So this one hurts me a little bit, but I'm not taking Travis Hunter here. I'm taking Tetairoa McMillan, the wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. And it's just because I think the floor is quite a bit higher here. McMillan's going to be a starting wide receiver for Carolina. I actually like what we saw from Bryce Young in the second half of last year. I think Dave Canales is going to be a pretty good coach. And there's just a lot less projection here. Like, I just think the floor is quite a bit higher, and I think the ceiling is incredibly high as well. I don't have to reach and hope that Travis Hunter isn't going back to defensive back. So I'm taking Tetairoa McMillan, and I feel really good about it.
He, among the wide receivers in the rookie class, he is the most obvious alpha to me.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he's a big target. We've heard some very good things in camp. His teammates rave about him. His coaches are raving about him. And I love Travis Hunter too, but there's a lot of question marks about Travis Hunter. Again, we will get to him in a second. But McMillan is he is brought in to be the alpha. He's brought in to be the guy. He's got the size. He's got the tools that can potentially make him maybe not a Mike Evans type of player, but sort of in that mold. And
more Drake London-ish, right?
You like Drake London comparison? Yeah. Okay. So for me, I've got McMillan right where you're drafting him at 3rd overall when we're talking about rookie only. And you know what? Maybe it's not an immediate gratification sort of scenario. The Panthers do have a bunch of mouths to feed, but I think McMillan is the biggest and the hungriest mouth, and he will get the most targets on this team in 2025, unless something very strange happens.
All right. You won the clock. Pick 104. Who you taking?
So in Superflex, it's between Travis Hunter and it's Cam Ward here.
Yep.
I, like you, I want a little unicorn action. So I'm going Travis Hunter. And, you know, in Scott Fish, which I drafted in New York a few weeks back, I think he was my 3rd or 4th pick because they were actually rewarding him for being a defensive player.
Yep.
Now, if you're in one of these wild Scott Fish and or Marcus Mosher leagues,
yes,
you know, then he has more value. But Travis Hunter comes with his own, you know, set of question marks. We've heard a lot of good things about him as a receiver in camp. And even Davante Adams has come out and questioned what I've questioned. How the hell is this kid going to play both sides of the ball? That's 2,000 plus snaps in a single season and survive. And he opens himself up to being injured twice as much as any other player in the league because none of those guys are playing both sides of the football. So there's risk with him. There's no question about it. And what happens if there's a scenario where there's certain weeks he's playing more corner and there's certain weeks he's playing more wide receiver, and then you're a fantasy manager pulling your hair out because you don't know what the hell to do? That potentially is a scenario as well. You got to open everything up. We don't know what Travis Hunter's role is going to be in terms of the split from wide out to cornerback. And can he sustain it for an entire career? Probably not. And then we have to hope in fantasy that if he can't sustain it for an entire career, he becomes solely a wide receiver. Because if he goes to solely being a defensive back, we're all screwed. Let's put it that way. Unless you're in a Marcus Mosher crazy IDP type of league.
The fun leagues, yes. Just right, by the way, the fun leagues.
Which are not, those are not traditional. So I'm going with Hunter. I understand the risks. I want to go along for the ride. This kid has a chance to do something that hasn't been done in a long, long time. And that's be a two-way player. And everything you hear about him and everything you read about him is positive. So I want to go along for the ride, right or wrong.
All right, so just to recap, Ashton Jeanty at 101, Omarion Hampton at 102, Tetairoa McMillan at 103, Travis Hunter at 104. Where does Cam Ward land? Is he the next pick? We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Do you ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or you're planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, all of your investments, and your spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. My family has used Monarch Money for about the last 9 or 10 months, and it's unbelievable how much they've helped us save. They helped us cut back on some spending that we didn't need to do, and now we are taking control of our finances. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of the year. NFL kickoff is almost here, and that means fantasy football season is back in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up turning up the experience like never before. Fabs and I are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. And to celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. And to kick it off, they've dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's only one team left standing. And with the season right around the corner, now is the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. And if you're into the classics, you can still play head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. So stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We are doing a round one Superflex rookie mock draft now that we're getting really close to the start of the season. And let's go to pick 105 here, and that's me. I'm taking Cam Ward. I considered him at 103 just because quarterbacks in these Superflex leagues are always so hard to acquire, especially the ones that have some kind of mobility and rushing upside. Now, Fabs, I will admit the Titans situation is not all that intriguing, right? You look at these pass catchers and it's not great. I don't know how much Brian Callahan inspires confidence, but I do like Cam Ward. I'm a Cam Ward truther. I have no problem here taking him at 105.
Listen, I like Cam Ward too. I didn't like him as much as I liked Jaden Daniels last season because he's not a runner like Jaden is. Now he can escape pressure and make plays with his feet. There's no question about that. But he's not Jaden Daniels, guys. So let's not get
he's
that
more
twisted.
Like Bo Nix as a runner, probably.
Yeah,
well, he's not as big as Nix is, but that kind of runner.
Exactly right. So he could give you 300 yards rushing, 350 yards, which is great. You'll take that all day long. But he's certainly not going to rush for 700 or 800 yards. So let's keep that in mind. Really accurate passer in college. But Marcus makes a good point. I mean, outside of Calvin Ridley, what do you got there? Tyler Lockett's on the wrong side of his 30th birthday. He is certainly past his prime. His best seasons are behind him. They've got a lot of young players at the wide receiver position. They got Chigakonkwo there at tight end. So I like him to have a good NFL career, not a great NFL career, but Tennessee's got to do right by him, and they've got to get more weapons and bring more pieces in to help him in terms of his development. And then maybe, statistically he'll be a better quarterback into the future. But right now he's a QB2, which means that you'll probably be playing him only when the matchup is favorable, at least in year one. But certainly the talent is there to be a good above average fantasy quarterback. Not only in year one, but certainly throughout his career. And I would expect him to be a little bit better long term than I would as a rookie.
The Titans feel like the team the most likely to give George Pickens like $30 million a year next offseason, right? Like, because they just don't desperately need a receiver. But anyways, you are on the clock here at pick 106. Who do you got?
A guy whose stock is rising, whose training camp reports are glowing, and it's Trevion my wayward son Henderson. Nice. And that actually works out too, because you got son at the end of his last name. So we got to figure in like Trevion my Henderson. I just nailed it, Marcus.
That was such a good impression. We might get copy strike or, get the copy strike, copyright strike on YouTube. There you go. That's what I meant to say.
Me and Steve Perry, man. I mean, both great singers. So he has really gotten a lot of kudos for his pass catching chops. And initially, this is going to be a committee. Ramondre Stevenson is still in the prime of his career, and Ramondre Stevenson just recently signed an extension. So this is not a scenario where Henderson's going to come in and be the featured back. It's not going to happen unless Stevenson gets hurt. But long term, Henderson brings a lot of value. Most of us are playing in PPR leagues. If you're playing in a standard league, you're just kind of, I guess, stubborn at this point. But he has got what you need. And I wish he went to Cleveland, to be quite honest with you. And I got to be honest with you, Browns probably wish they drafted him too at this point with the mess that's going on with Judkins. Because if Henderson were in Cleveland or in a scenario where he could be the true featured back or at least a starter in week one, I have him right up there with Hampton, behind Hampton, but I still have him up there. But I love the talent. And remember, he doesn't come into the pros with a ton of work. He shared the workload at Ohio State. And you look at that Patriots offense, it's young, right? Young. And they could have a little triplet thing going on there. Looking for the wide receiver to be the triplet.
Kyle Williams, it's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Whatever. I'm not going there. So, but Drake May and Henderson, and then find me a receiver. It's not going to be Diggs. But maybe it'll be Williams ultimately. But that would go against every trend that the Patriots have ever had at a wide receiver.
I like it.
That's a different story for a different show. But I do love me some Henderson.
All right, so pick 106, Trevion Henderson. Pick 107 for me is Emeka Egbuka, and this is actually somebody that I'm moving up my rookie drafts. And partially
I have two.
It's because of you. Every report out of Tampa Bay has suggested that he's looked awesome, and we continue to hear more and more about Chris Godwin. He's not going to be ready for week one. He's probably going to be on the PUP list, and he's had this second surgery. And what is he going to look like when he comes back? It's not even like he's the youngest receiver out there. He was in that 2017 draft with Mike Williams and Juju Smith-Schuster and Cooper Kupp, and look at John Ross. So like it's been a while.
John Ross, dope.
I know. Corey Davis in that draft. I just think Emeka Egbuka is somebody he's in a high value or high volume pass offense. He can play every receiver spot. He's Ohio State's all-time leading receiver. And yeah, maybe he doesn't have the upside to be a wide receiver one, but could he be like Jackson Smith and Jigba in a higher volume pass offense? Yes. Sure, why not? 107 is where I'm taking him.
Love him. Baker Mayfield called him cerebral. And anytime a guy gets named cerebral, I like it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I love Triple H as a WWE fan. The cerebral assassin. I don't know. It wasn't about Cerebro. Isn't there a Cerebro in like X-Men? Anyways, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I am a big fan of Egbuka. I have really warmed up to him over the last few weeks, and I've moved him up in all of my rankings.
All right. So you are on the clock here at 108, and this is where things start to get a little tricky. What are you doing here?
So I'm going to go with Tyler Warren here because Tyler Warren has the chance, to me at least, to be like the next Dallas Clark in Indianapolis. I almost said Goddard. I love his game. And, you go back and look at his stats from Penn State. Like, look at his rushing stats too. Like, they used him as an H-back. He kind of can be that that full-time starting featured type of tight end. And the Colts, they have some okay pieces. Michael Pittman Jr. has been up and down. Josh Downs is good when he's healthy. Unfortunately, he's had some injury woes. We don't know what to expect from A.D. Mitchell at this point. But Tyler Warren could really be a target hog, not only as a rookie, but long-term. Now, I don't think he's going to be Sam Laporta. I don't think he's going to be Brock Bowers. When you talk about unicorns, those guys kind of, did some stuff that we haven't seen in a long, long time. In fact, ever. So Warren, but can he finish in the top 10 or top 12 as a rookie? Yeah, I think he can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the Colts, every report, every mock draft, it seemed almost was right. They nailed Warren going to the Colts. I know I did a mock draft, even though I'm just a dumb fantasy analyst. I did one. I had fun. I had Warren going to the Colts because I like the fit. Young quarterback and Anthony Richardson, assuming he wins the job, we don't know. I kind of hope he does now because whatever. But Tyler Warren, just to me, has all the looks of a solid, consistent, long-term tight end one in fantasy.
All right, so just to recap, Cam Ward at 105, Travion Henderson at 106, Emeka Buka at 107, and then Tyler Warren at 108. Still no Quinshon Judkins, who was being drafted at pick 5, pick 6 just a couple months ago. Does he land in the next 4 picks? We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. It's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're out sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one is a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days in the course or off it, you need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I know that I need it. Sometimes you get to the back 9 and you're dragging a little bit. A little 5 Hour Energy will help you get through the round and play your best golf. So if you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use our promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're out meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the Locked On Bet Show. Betting experts Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers have daily MLB locks and can't miss football futures. Find Locked On Bets on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, pick 109, and this is where things start to get really tricky. I'm actually going to go with Caleb Johnson at 109, and the reports out of Pittsburgh have been up and down. Fabs, like, he's looked really good as a runner, but the receiving part has been a struggle. Like, he's dropped multiple passes. He's struggling in pass pro. They have not completed a screen, I believe, pass yet in some of the 11-on-11 stuff. However, Jaylen Warren on the final year of his deal. I just think he's a really good fit in Arthur Smith's offense that utilizes that wide zone. I like Caleb Johnson. I think he's a fine pick here at 109.
Yeah, if he were still on the board, I may have taken him at 110.
Okay.
But the bottom line here is that I think it might be a slow burn with him, though, because he does have Warren in the mix. And so, Caleb, the easy way to describe his role would be maybe taking over the Najee Harris role. But Najee Harris is a way better pass catcher than Caleb Johnson. So when you look at this offense, the good thing is that Aaron Rodgers, even though he's 41, he's still going to demand respect from defenses. So defenses are not going to be able to just load the box up and stop the run because, the Steelers love to run the football. Historically, they have run the football very well, dating back to, Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris. But I think this kid is a good fit for the Steelers offense, as you just said, and certainly a top 10 pick in rookie only dynasty drafts. No doubt about it. I don't know, again, that he's going to be Najee Harris in his rookie campaign. I probably not. Really doubt that.
No.
But long term, he's probably the team's featured back.
Again, I think he's more like Tyler Algier, who Arthur Smith had in Atlanta, who before Bijan was a very productive fantasy running back. I
Ran
think
for
that's what
1,000
you're hoping.
yards.
Yeah, I think that's what you're hoping for here. You are on the clock here at 110.
I'm going to go with Colston Loveland here.
Okay.
And so, I love my trends. And the trends
You
are not
do?
good for the Bears drafting tight ends. In fact, the only tight end they've ever drafted that has really turned into anything is Mike Ditka.
Cole Kmet's a pretty decent tight end.
Greg Olson was a good player, certainly. And Cole Kmet's been okay. He's been okay. But to me, the situation with Chicago and Ben Johnson and what he wants to use in terms of the tight end spot, everyone's going to just look at Sam Laporta. Okay, well, I don't think Colston Loveland's going to be Sam Laporta. Not right out of the gate. Kmet's still there. They have a pretty good one in DJ Moore. They have a guy I think is going to break out in Rome Odunze. They drafted Luther Burden. They've got some mouths to feed. And training camp thus far, the reports have been kind of up and down, really about the entire Bears offense, including Caleb Williams. So I like Loveland to be a future tight end one in fantasy, but I'm not so certain he's going to make a massive impact this year.
Probably not. I like Loveland more than Warren, by the way.
Just keep that in mind. Okay, but they're close.
They're close.
I
agree.
Can you name a tight end out of Michigan who was a fantasy superstar?
Luke Schoonmaker in 2026. All right. So I agree. I agree with you, by the way.
Made my point.
Yeah. All right. I'm going up at pick 111. I'm taking Matthew Golden. And this is another guy that I've actually moved up a little bit. I wasn't the biggest Matthew Golden fan coming out of Texas. But he's been running like exclusively with the first team. He's been lining up more on the outside as the X receiver with Jaden Reed in the slot. Again, I don't feel great about it. I like Luther Burden as a prospect better. I just kind of like this situation for Matthew Golden. I thought about Quinshon Judkins here. I really, really did. But I'm passing him up here because there's just so much unknown.
A lot of unknown. Golden's got that speed, and we know speed is a killer in sports. I also think that it's going to be a slow burn for him too.
I agree.
They have so many wide receivers. But remember, Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson are both free agents at the end of the season.
And
so
I don't see them re-signing either.
The Packers could look very different in terms of their wide receiver group. This could be a scenario where, it's Golden, it's Wicks, it's Reed, it's Savion Williams. So that could look a lot different. And, they invested a first round pick in him. So I understand that. I'm not sure I would have gone there though.
All right. Pick 112. You have the last pick here. Who are you taking?
Going to take Quinshon Judkins.
Okay.
I will tell you that I know a lot of people in the business. No one has any idea what's going on with him. I reached out to 2 of my Browns contacts. They don't know what's going on with him. Nobody does. At least not anybody that's going to say anything.
Okay.
And, Jimmy Haslam's come out and said that he expects him to be, with the Browns long-term. It's not going to be a scenario where they cut him because of the incident that happened in Florida. So at some point he's going to be on the team. Once he does sign, once he does report, and again, no one knows. He's going to probably end up facing some sort of a league suspension, some sort of discipline. And hopefully this experience is enough to get his head out of his keister and walk the straight and narrow moving forward. What's weird is that there were a lot of good running backs on the board, including Henderson, when the Browns took Judkins. And I wonder if they didn't do their homework on him, because this incident was an ugly one and not one that you want to be associated with. And the Browns had this last year too. So
the Ohio State player. Yeah. Michael Hall.
Correct. But at this late juncture in the draft, in the first round, I'm going to roll the dice and I'll take a shot. Because the Browns saw something in him that said that he could be their featured back. And Jerome Ford is a free agent at the end of the season. So even though I may not get an immediate investment on my return, and very likely that's going to be the scenario, long-term, the Browns are going to be using Quinshon Judkins as their number one. I don't know about you, Marcus. I don't see Dylan Sampson as a one.
No,
the NFL.
he's a complementary player, right? That helps out
Right.
the passing game a little bit. I'm with you. All right. So just to recap, Ashton Jeanty at 101, Hampton at 102, McMillan, Hunter, back-to-back picks, 105, Cam Ward, Travion Henderson, 106, Emeka Buka, 107. You took Tyler Warren at 108, Caleb Johnson at 109, Colston Loveland at pick 110. I went with Matthew Golden at 111, and then Quinton Judkins falls at pick 112. We're talking about him falling at least 6 or 7 spots just based on the ADP that we had from a couple months ago. We'll see if that continues to fall throughout August. I would assume every day that goes by that he doesn't sign and that we don't get news, that ADP is going to drop. So be on the lookout for that. All right, that is it for today's show. We want to thank you for making Locked On Dynasty Football your first listen every single day. On Monday's show, we're going to break down all of the action from preseason, so make sure you guys are tuning in for that. Follow Fabs on Twitter at Michael_Fabiano. I'm at Marcus_Mosher. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. We'll see you on Monday.